The Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act, 1978, has become a lightning rod for controversy since its resurgence into public discourse. While framed as a measure to protect indigenous faiths and cultures, the act has drawn sharp criticism, particularly from Christian communities within the state. At the heart of the debate lies a fundamental concern: the potential for the act to be weaponized through false accusations, thereby undermining the very freedoms it purports to safeguard. This essay delves into the complexities of the act, examining its provisions and the potential pitfalls of its implementation. We will explore how broad definitions, mandatory reporting, social pressures, and the potential for misuse by authorities create fertile ground for false accusations to take root. Furthermore, we will analyze the concerns raised by Christian groups, the political motivations driving the Act's revival, and the evolving stance of Chief Minister PemaKhandu. Chief Minister PemaKhandu and the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, have been instrumental in bringing the Act back into the spotlight. Khandu has publicly stated that the Act is essential for preserving the cultural heritage of Arunachal Pradesh. Critics argue that the BJP's support for the Act is a strategic move to consolidate political power by appealing to indigenous sentiments. For instance, during a rally in Itanagar, Khandu emphasized the need to protect indigenous faiths from external influences, a statement that many saw as a veiled reference to Christian missionary activities. Its implementation has the potential to reshape the religious landscape of the state, impacting interfaith relations and individual freedoms. As we navigate this complex terrain, it is imperative to engage in nuanced and informed dialogue, ensuring that the pursuit of protecting one community's rights does not come at the cost of another's. The Act's journey from obscurity to the center stage of public debate is a story of evolving political landscapes, shifting religious demographics, and the enduring struggle to balance individual liberties with the preservation of cultural identity. One of the most significant concerns surrounding the Act lies in its broad and potentially ambiguous definitions. The Act prohibits forced conversion, which it defines as conversion through coercion, inducement, or fraud. While these terms seem straightforward at first glance, their lack of precise legal definition creates a slippery slope, opening the door for subjective interpretations and misuse. What constitutes coercion in the context of religious persuasion? Can the offer of material assistance, even if motivated by genuine goodwill, be construed as inducement? The Act fails to provide clear benchmarks, leaving these interpretations open to the discretion of individuals and law enforcement agencies. This ambiguity creates an environment where personal grievances, interfaith disputes, or even neighborly conflicts could be easily manipulated and framed as cases of forced conversion. Imagine a scenario where a person from an indigenous faith chooses to convert to Christianity after receiving medical aid from a Christian charity. While the individual may have converted out of genuine conviction, the Act's vague definition of inducement could be used to allege that the medical assistance was a form of coercion. This ambiguity, coupled with the mandatory reporting requirement, could deter individuals from associating with those of other faiths, fearing that even benign interactions could be misconstrued and result in legal repercussions. The Act's lack of clarity in defining key terms is not merely a technical oversight, it is a fundamental flaw that undermines its legitimacy and opens the door to a climate of suspicion and mistrust. The Act's provision mandating the reporting of all religious conversions to the Deputy Commissioner further amplifies the risk of false accusations. While presented as a mechanism for transparency, this requirement, in conjunction with the broad definitions mentioned earlier, creates an environment ripe for misuse. The act of reporting a conversion, even if done in good faith, carries inherent risks. It subjects individuals who choose to convert to a level of scrutiny that can be intrusive and intimidating. This scrutiny, coupled with the fear of potential legal consequences, can have a chilling effect on religious freedom, deterring individuals from exercising their right to choose their faith freely. Furthermore, the mandatory reporting requirement creates a perverse incentive for individuals to lodge false accusations. In a society where religious identities are often intertwined with social standing and community dynamics, the ability to accuse someone of forced conversion can be wielded as a tool to settle personal scores, exert pressure, or even gain an advantage in property disputes. A mere allegation, even if ultimately proven false, can have devastating consequences for the accused, leading to social ostracism, economic hardship, and irreparable damage to their reputation. The mandatory reporting clause, instead of promoting transparency, risks transforming a personal and deeply spiritual decision into a bureaucratic process fraught with suspicion and the potential for abuse. The Act's journey from obscurity to the center stage of public debate is a story of evolving political landscapes, shifting religious demographics, and the enduring struggle to balance individual liberties with the preservation of cultural identity. The Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act, 1978, raises important questions about authority and governance. Who has the right to regulate religious conversions? What role should the state play in matters of personal belief? These questions are at the heart of the ongoing debate surrounding the Act. As we delve deeper, we must consider the perspectives of various stakeholders and the implications for individual freedoms. The Christian community in Arunachal Pradesh has expressed significant concerns regarding the implications of the Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act, 1978. They argue that the act has been used to target and harass religious minorities, particularly Christians. The community fears that the law could be misused to stifle their religious freedom and curtail their right to practice and propagate their faith. In recent years, there has been a resurgence in the enforcement of the Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act, 1978. This resurgence is seen in the context of broader national debates on religious conversion and anti-conversion laws. Proponents argue that the act is necessary to prevent forced conversions and protect indigenous cultures. However, critics claim that the renewed focus on the act is part of a larger agenda to marginalize religious minorities and impose a homogeneous cultural identity. Supporters of the act maintain that it is essential for preserving the cultural heritage and social fabric of Arunachal Pradesh. They believe that the law helps to prevent exploitation and coercion in religious conversions. On the other hand, opponents argue that the act infringes upon individual freedoms and is often used as a tool for discrimination. They contend that the law violates the fundamental right to freedom of religion guaranteed by the Indian Constitution. The enforcement of the Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act, 1978, presents several potential consequences and challenges. It could lead to increased tension and conflict between different religious communities. There is also the risk of legal and social repercussions for individuals accused of violating the act. Furthermore, the law's implementation may strain the relationship between the state and religious minorities, leading to a climate of fear and mistrust. The challenges of balancing cultural preservation with individual freedoms remain a contentious issue in the ongoing debate over the act. Advocate Tambo Taman has filed a public interest litigation seeking the implementation of the AFRA Act, 1978, adding another layer to the complex legal landscape.